I'll start sharing my screen soon once I'm co-hosted. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our last class. Let's wait for a few more people to join, and yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll make all of you quickly co-hosts. All right, Sage officials. Oh yeah, I was right about to send the feedback form. So let me first share my screen. Welcome, everyone. No, that's okay. Okay. Better have shared the right screen, you know? Yeah. Okay. So first of all, here's the feedback form. Alicia has already sent it in chat. I'll give like how does 2 minutes sound? Like 2 to 3 more minutes to fill out this form. I posted it also in the group Goggle classroom. So yeah. And you guys can post it in the Discord. I can post it in the Discord right now. Oh, okay. That was an accident. But yeah. So how was all of your days today? How was everyone's day today? It's such a hot day today. Oh, science class was ruined. That's very unfortunate. It got up to like 90. Oh, teacher boring. That is sad. It got up to like 98 degrees, and I was driving. That car was very, very hot, like when I was driving home. Oh. All right, I see that I've given like all of you a bit of time to fill out the form. Now let's cover one concept before we can start working on our Hangman game. It's about like introducing Python files. Alex, you can take it away.
All right, so basically what this is when you have a Python project like in REPL or in a different compiler and all that, you'll notice that it's a folder, and that's because you're not really, well, the file that's going to be running is one file if you're running the Python in Python and not remotely accessing the Python through like something else. But basically, what's going to be running is main.py. It's usually named main.py, but it can also be named something else. What you do in this main file is you can actually call functions and get variables from other files. And the way you do this is actually you import them, and then you put in the file path. Okay, so if you divert your eyes to chat, this is the root file. So if you do that, that's the root file. Okay, the root file for your project will be the folder your project is in, right? So if you do import, all right, let's say you have a folder and you have main.py, and then you have like calculate.py, right? Then you do import calculate, and if there was a variable in this calculate.py, let's say this variable was pi, then you call this by saying, like for example, num equals calculator dot pi, and then you get that variable inside there. Or for example, if you had,
Isn't it calculate.py?
like if it just returns the value of that variable. And let's say you had a function. Well, you can call that too. So maybe calculator has or calculate. Sorry, I misspelled. Calculate dot calc 3, something like that. Right? And all you have to do is import calculate, and you can run these in your main.py. Well, why do we want to scatter these functions and variables in different files? Well, this actually can clean up the code, especially if your functions are very complex. Say if you wanted to like post something to a web page, something like that, right? It'd be better to just like not have all that clutter inside your main file, especially if like the main file has multiple functions. You can always refer back to the imported file. It's probably in the same folder or in a path in the folder. So usually, yeah, that's just how you access the code.
All right. We'd also like to introduce like the winner of like one of the projects. Let's take a look at Alex Nee's text adventure. Hold up. Alex Nee made a really lit text adventure. You guys we can take a look at it a bit later, but yeah, it's really awesome, and he has all of this. He didn't even need to use that much code, but he's created like a whole large adventure. And so that's welcome. That's awesome, and you guys should check it out. Now, next thing we have is like our project for today, the Hangman project. Let me quickly upload that on Google Classroom. Yeah. The Hangman project, I will assign it and then send the link into the chat. It's up here available on Google Classroom, and now here is the okay. Here is our instructions. Let me zoom in on it. Your task today is to create an ASCII-based Hangman game. We'll learn today about creating files and then importing them, which we just covered previously.
Also, we'll work with lists and better understand how to access them and go through them and interpret them.
So let's all open the, we all know the rules of Hangman. So all of you can open like our link sent in chat. Oh, but wait, am I sharing the wrong window? What am I sharing? Oh, am I sharing my Gmail on accident?
No, you're sharing your Google Classroom. Are you going to share the doc?
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Accident. I forgot to click resume share. My bad. Yeah, I was on this. So your task today is to create an ASCII or Hangman game. I've sent the link to like this Hangman thing in the chat. So all of you can open it to follow along with like our instructions on like what to do. First of all, we're gonna fork the REPL right here. Open this link and click the fork button. Then we want to import the modules. Pick a random word from the list, prompt the user to guess the letter, and follow this logical flow that we've made. Here's how a sample game would go. We first do guess a letter. We guess another letter, just like Hangman would. Oh, we guessed I? That works out. We have a bunch of I's now. Guess a letter, S. We keep losing our lives. until we become a stick man. That is how our hangman today is going to work. Okay, let's fork our REPL to see when you're on here, click this link. You'll see like the Hangman game final. And this is just a basic template. Let me exit out of here. Hold up. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, cover page. And so when you're on this cover page, click this button called Fork REPL. Forking it, you can just you get like a copy of the game. You fork it, and now you're able to edit it yourself. Since I'm the original owner of the file, I can do it directly. But yeah. Now I have this.
So you can see we've provided you with a few things. First of all, we're going to have a starting file. And as you can see, we've imported the other 2 Python files. So each of them has variables. And also, I don't think they have any functions that we're importing from the other Python files yet. Is that right, Tyler?
I beg your pardon?
We're only importing, taking the variables from the imported Python files, right?
Yeah, we're only taking the.
So, but just keep in mind, you can also take functions like that.
It's all right, Maria and Alex, you guys can join to follow along. You guys can make sure like it's not too different from like our solution code that we've made earlier. So yeah, this is what we have so far. We're importing random Hangman words and Hangman art. Let's take a look at the Hangman word and the art right now. We have a chosen word, which is from the Hangman words word list. What's the word list? This large database of words that contains about 200 of them. One of the words is chosen from here using like the random.choice function. And so right now we have a variable that is ascribed to the chosen word. And
this is the length function. It's a default Python function, by the way. And yeah, it's going to take the length of the chosen word, and it's going to be an integer type.
And we're printing out the logo. And so once I get this loaded, it's going to start by printing out the logo. Hangman. And by the way, if you just joined, here's like the instructions to today's lesson. We are right now doing Hangman. Here's the Hangman, the Hangman. Instructions, and yeah.
All right.
So let's implement what it says in the Hangman classroom. Right here, you can see it prints out a nice logo. Let me do this in split screen so we can see both the instructions and our code at the same time. So I drag this over here. I drag this out. I'll get this ready in 1 second. And ta-da! We see the instructions on the left, and then like the code on the right. After forking the REPL, we like imported these modules. We've picked a random word, and now let's prompt the user to guess a letter, and then like implement our live system at the same time. And let's start. Let's create a while loop. While true, if it's the end of the game, we'll just break out of the loop. And so we can say while not end of game. Well, it's not the end of the game. For every guess, let's display the number of lives they have left, the guessed letters, and all of this. In addition, let's check out the stages. These stages are the ASCII for like how many lives we have left. This is like we have 6 lives left, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or like more like max lives. This is.
So yeah, when you're doing lists like this, you've got to pay attention to like the order it's in, because like the order that like you type it in the commas is like just like the indexes, right? It goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to so on, right?
Okay. Let's turn our attention to the right to the instructions of the screen. We're going to prompt them to say, guess a letter. And then, A is not in the word, you lose a life. And so we're going to start by printing, taking the input of guess a letter. Taking this input and making it just dot lower for some our quality of life can help out. This will get us a lowercase letter like F, and it will just keep continuing. One thing I accidentally did was moving this here. This one should be outside of there. My mistake. So every time it should just prompt you to guess a letter, and then it should print something if the letter is like different. So now that we've made our guess, we can do something with the guess. Like this is not in the word, you lose a life, or check it if it is in the word, or if we already said the word already. Here's what it means. If the user guesses wrong, then let's update it. The user guessed it before. So how do we check if they guessed it wrong or if they guessed it right? Let's take a look here. And we have the chosen word. This should help us a bit. Let's make another variable that is like the words, letters already guessed. First of all, we want to make sure our guess is actually a letter. If it's not a letter, that means it's going to be wrong. And so I'm not sure how we're going to directly.
I think there's a default Python thing.
How to check if.
So when you don't know something, then I think a good way is to search it up with W3 Schools teaches a lot of coding languages. Stack Overflow is like when you have like a certain like problem, and like it's like a problem that a lot of people have asked, or maybe like some people have asked.
And this solves it. If it's like .alpha, if it's an alphabet letter, then it returns true. Otherwise, it's false. And so let's do an if statement. If letter dot is alpha, if it is an alpha, that means we otherwise, let's write nothing here for now. Well, let's do something for the else. Otherwise, we say we print that is not a valid letter. Try again.
Yep.
This is not in the word, you lose life. Blood is not in the word, you lose a life. But when we guess it correctly, we go and switch it with all of these. Let's look back. Now we want to check if like we can guess it. If the letter's guessed, this is a multi-step process. Let's first check if add the letter to the letters, check if we already guessed it. So if letter in letters guessed, this if letters in letters guessed ensures that we check if the letter is in the letters that we guessed. That means we print let's pass for now and otherwise print. You already guessed that letter. Try again. Essentially, we can't keep repeating letters. We keep doing F, 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 F.
Just a reminder, if you're confused, you can always speak up in chat and we'll explain some of the stuff that we put here. So right now, this is just some beforehand checks. And then after this, we're going to actually check the letters and stuff and do some logic.
Oh wait, sorry, my bad. It should be the other way around if it's already there. Then we can add it, letters guessed. And you remember with lists, we can do a function called append. Oops. Letter. And so now that should work. This is what I mean. Let's open this. We start out with F, nothing happens. But if we guess it again, it says we already guessed that letter. Let's, if they guessed it before, don't take another life and tell the user. Check mark. If they guessed wrong, now we want to check if they guessed right or wrong. A string is essentially a, my computer ran out of battery. Sure, let's copy paste the thing in the chat. Do you want here's the document for the chat. Thank you. Or Alex and Maria, you guys can help them. We append this letter to the list. So now we want to check if it's wrong or right. That's essentially checking if our string has a letter inside it. And so now we can check. How do we check? We can split the string into character array. And here's what I want to see. We want to turn this string into something like this. Geeks into something like geeks. And why is this useful? Well, if we have that, we can then check each of the strings one by one. Does it contain a G? Does it contain an E, E, E? And if we guess the letter E, we can go through this array one by one to match the E's and then activate them. And so right away, let's also make a second array. Word equal to G, sorry, not geeks. We have the chosen word. As you can see, we can do this. Let's copy paste this. Instead of using string, we call it chosen word. This turns our word array into a character array. And let's print it out to see what it does. Oxygen. That's a bit, that's going to be our word. But anyways, now we're one step closer to seeing if it's in the list. Let's run a for loop. And so for I in length, word length. Oh wait, sorry. I in range, word length. Mine was doing some stuff. And while it's in the range of the word length, let's check if they're equal. The word array letter is the same as the guessed letter. If word array I, index I, is equivalent to the letters guessed, to letter, just saying if it's correct, then let's actually have a second array. This is going to be a Boolean array, guessed. And this checks guessed correctly if each one is guessed correctly. We're going to initialize all 6 values of this as, we're going to actually add a bunch of falses to here. And so I'm going to copy paste this right here. What is that? This is essentially creates a guessed correctly an array of falses. And what this is going to do is going to construct our string that we print out. You can see that we have these underscores, and then like the spaces in between. If like it's already been guessed, we mark it as true. And so instead of an underscore, we have an actual letter. And so we have guessed correctly as false. And you guys can, Alex and Marie, you guys can feel free to comment or like add comments to the code to make it more understandable.
All right.
We'll be posting this code at the end. So if the word array is equal to the letter, we first of all activate this guessed correctly. It becomes true. And at this point, we've checked the whole thing and for like all the letters. Next, we want to see, in addition, we want to see if like it is in the word. And basically, we want to see if we lose a life. And so lose life, if we don't go through anything, we're going to lose a life. However, if we see something, we can set the lose life to false. And so if we lose a life, let's do, this is not in the word. And so let's create an F string for this. Print F, E is not in the word. And so let's have this single brackets. Letter is not in the word. Now, I want to create a function that gets us like the chosen word. Here's what I mean. It takes like the guessed correctly in the word array to like produce one of these like I things. Here's what I mean. Let's create a function called def print word. We're going to have a few global variables here. Global, we have the chosen, no, not that. Word length, word array, guessed correctly. These are the ones we need. Let's implement this by building this all from one string. And so let's, hold up. So let's call basic their word, let's call it the word. The word is equal to blank. And we can keep adding and concatenating the string to the string. And so for I in the range of the word length, let's add in if the index has been guessed correctly, and so if guessed correctly I is true, then we add the letter and the space. The word plus equals to word array plus this. This essentially adds the letter and the space. Otherwise, let's copy paste this. The word plus equal to, we just add this. In the end, we're going to return the word. We have a lot of code here, and let's see what it does right now. It's not going to be complete. We have jawbreaker. Let's see what it does. J, it says that we can, it checks if we can, if we've already guessed it. But we haven't implemented like, let's then implement the rest of it. And if it is not there, all right. Now, what happens if we don't lose a life? If we guessed it correctly? If it is in the word, then let's, well, first of all, then let's, if we lose a life, let's actually make ourselves lose a life. And so we got, where is it? Lives minus equal to 1. We're subtracting 1 life. Then we're going to print out, what is that thing called? We're going to print out this Hangman thing, stages. Let's import this stages thing. Stages equals Hangman art.stages. This essentially gets us the stages. So let's see what this does. Hangman art.stages. Let's print out stages. What is that thing called? Lives. This is our index. And so let's guess a number that's, oops, else. There you go. That should fix it for now. Guess a letter. Hold up, let me, gossip, schnapps. E is not there. E is not in the word, you lose a life. Let's try Z. Z is not in the word, you lose a life. Q. Q is not in the word, you lose a life. We see that it's working now. Let's finish this off by adding what happens if we guess it correctly. And I also should mention, after we do guess a lot, let's go back here, you lose a life. We also print out the word. And so let's do print razzmatazz. Let's do something not there. B, you lose a life. A, as you can see, we have not made it work if like it's successful. Let's code this final option that will finish our project off. As you can see, I'm proud that we can make like print this out now. If it works, that means let's put it in letters guessed equal to true. No, not letters guessed equal to true. Guessed correctly. Actually, it's guessed correctly already becomes true. And then so let's print word, print stages lives. Let's do those. Guess a letter. A, B. And let's say we do P. P is not in the word. O, N. And now we have it. And let's code the final condition. If we have all few letters of the word, that means we end. That means we got it. We can end the game. And then so for if guessed correctly is always true. And it will only happen after a successful one. If guessed. And in this one, we can be a bit lazier. If for I and guessed correctly, we can do this thing called a enhanced for loop, where I is just like the number that we want. If I is ever false, that means we end the game. But if it's ever false, that means the end of game is equal to false. How does that play out? Well, let's try this here. Gossip. Hold up. Wait, no, it's not gossip. Stretch. Guess correctly is not defined. Oh, guessed directly. My bad. I misnamed the module. Fishhook. Fish. And now we've won. Let's finish this off by adding a you win or a you lose statement, and we'll finally finish the project. If lives is equal to 0, print you lose. The word was, and let's add the word, and that's the chosen word. Good job, you win. We're almost done here. Jelly. Let's test this out. Good job, you win. And to make this more objective, let's delete what we had in the start temporarily, the thing that printed out the word array. Here. That's more of like a dev background thing. Guess the letter. Now, who should tell me? What should I guess first? I like guessing vowels. E, A, I, O, U. This is an actual game of Hangman. I have a feeling there's a B. No, there's not. There's an N. Pui o E, C, L. Okay, I'm in a T. Narcotic. Q. X. And I solved it with one letter left. Quixotic or Quixotic, named after the Don Quixote person. And so, guys, we have completed our final project. I can upload it right now on Google Classroom. Create, material, Hangman code. And just like that, I think we finished one of our final activities for this class. But we're not finished. We have our booklet. We always have a booklet to end it off. Let me X out all of this because we're finished with it. And so let me open a booklet for all of you to join and post this on Google Classroom now.